Welcome to another installment of our Haggadah Insights. I'd like to turn our attention today to the difference between the question of the Chacham and the Rasha. If you look carefully at the Psukim, you'll notice something interesting. Certainly by the Rasha in the use of the word lachem, as the Rasha says, Ma ha'avodah hazos lachem, he says, what is all of this work to you? We are told in the Haggadah, Shehotzi atzmo min haklal, that the word lachem is an exclusionary kind of language. The Rasha, by saying lachem to you, excludes himself from the Jewish people. And therefore the answer is, hakei es shinav, we need to rebuke the Rasha for disassociating himself from the Jewish people. And yet, when you look at the question of the Chacham, the pasuk which is brought down as the question of the Chacham also seems to use an exclusionary term. The Chacham says, Ma ha'aidus v'hachukim v'hamishpatim asher tziva Hashem Elokeinu eschem. The word eschem is also to you, and therefore it also could be understood as an exclusionary term. So what is, after all, the difference between the Chacham and the Rasha? Why by the Rasha do we say he excludes himself, but by the Chacham we do not use such an interpretation? So perhaps the answer can be understood as the Chidah explains, by the fact that the Chacham mentions Hashem's name. When he says, Ma ha'edus v'hachukim v'hamishpatim, asher tziva Hashem Elokeinu eschem. He mentions Hashem Elokeinu. He mentions the name of Hashem. Whereas the Rasha has no mention of Hashem's name, simply Ma ha'avodah hazos lachem. And perhaps the Chidah's reasoning can be strengthened by that which appears in Koheles. In Koheles, Perek Beis, Pasuk Yud Gimel, chapter 2, verse 13, Shlomo HaMelech tells us, Ra'isi ani sheyesh yisron l'chachma min ha'sichlus, ki yisron ha'or min ha'choshech. I see, says Shlomo HaMelech, that the difference between wisdom and foolishness is as the difference between light and darkness. What could that mean? The difference between wisdom and foolishness is like the difference between light and darkness. If we go back to Chumash Bereshis and we look at the creation of light and darkness, perhaps there we can find an answer to this question. Because in that story of creation, we are told, Vayikra Elokim la'or yom v'lachoshech kara laila, that Hashem called the light day and the darkness he called night. By the day, Hashem's name is mentioned, Vayikra Elokim la'or yom. However, by the darkness, Hashem's name is not mentioned. V'lachoshech kara laila. The difference between darkness and light is the mention of Hashem's name. By light, Hashem's name is mentioned. By darkness, it is not. So too, the difference between the Chacham and the Rasha, the difference between wisdom and foolishness, or perhaps the difference between wisdom and those who are evil, can be understood as to whether or not Shem Hashem, the name of Hashem, is mentioned. The Chacham mentions Shem Hashem, Hashem Elokeinu. The Rasha, no such mention. Ma ha'avodah hazos lachem. When Shem Hashem is mentioned, you are part of the people. When you exclude Shem Hashem, you exclude yourself from the Jewish people. I hope you've enjoyed this Haggadah insight and can use it at your Seder table. Chag Sameach.